Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is for those people who have their natal Saturn in the fourth house of home and family. And this placement is considered difficult because Saturn is not a warm planet, and the fourth house being the house of the family of origin, the parental figure who is more nurturing. So you're looking for a warm parent who is caring and maybe affectionate. And usually that's going to be the mother who is the nurturer, specifically. And when that parent is very cold, very distant, and very authoritarian, that can make the child feel unloved. And the parents may not have understood you. They may have been too strict. So if a parent does not allow the child to do things that maybe other kids get to do, then that child will think that it's almost like being punished. And this is because Saturn is about hierarchy, for example. And hierarchy is like, okay, the pecking order. Who who has the authority over somebody else? Saturn is about the government, and this is a perfect example of how we have these different levels of power. And there's a very traditional kind of influence from Saturn. It's what has already been established. And it's about organization, it's about structure. And so in the fourth house, this is a water house and you're talking about emotions, when there's that kind of a structure, it's not really allowing for emotion to be honored, first and foremost. And so you could have a home that's run like a tight ship, but the emotional side can be lacking. And Saturn is about restriction. So in a water house, like I said, the emotional side can be restricted or rigid in some way. Now, let me get out my list again. So Saturn is the Lord of Karma, and there may be a karmic relationship with that nurturing parent. Again, I think that most of the time it will be the mother. And there's also, with the family tree, can be the fourth house. So this could be like ancestral karma. And, I'm not really that well versed on ancestral karma, but my feeling is that it's something like, some people might call it the family curse. If there's some type of dysfunction that seems to keep perpetuating itself in your family tree, like for instance, addiction or mental illness. And you could say addiction is a form of mental illness, but things like that may be broken families where there's always disharmony between the parents, the parental figures, and things like that could just be something that has continued to plague at least one side of your family. Now, before I continue, I just want to remind you that it's not just about these planets in these houses. You have to look at your chart as a whole to get a good feel for it. So for instance, let's say you're a Leo and you have your sun in Leo in the fifth house. That's Leo's house. That's very good. Or maybe have the sun in the first house, and you may be a very extroverted person. You may be a very cheerful person, except when you think about your family and it makes you feel a little bit sullen or down or what have you, because you feel like that is kind of the black spot in your life. Even if you love your parents or love your family, you may feel like they are kind of a burden on you. And Saturn can be, to me, that sense of duty. And this can lead you to take care of your parents later on. And so the reason I was bringing up, let's say you're a Leo or another fire sign, is because fire signs tend to be very positive in their mindset, and Saturn, as an influence, tends to be rather pessimistic. And so you may come from a family where, like, if you're a fire sign or an air sign or something like that, where you just feel this sense of like they drag you down, because you just see the contrast between how you approach life and how they approach life. And you just may have some negative memories of the past, because the fourth house is the past. But if you are, let's say, a Capricorn or a Cancer, you may feel like your family is your duty. I mean, you may feel that even more so. So for a fire sign, it may feel like, oh, this is horrible that I have this duty. And a sign like Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, might actually feel like, hey, this is just part of life. And so no two signs, sun signs, will view the things that happen to them in the same way. So they might be less traumatic to be raised like, within a cold family if you are a Capricorn, because, since Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, that mentality, that philosophy is something you already possess. So I wanted to make that clear, because that might it might seem like all these things that I'm saying is just going to be perceived in the worst possible way, and that's not true. So what I was just saying before I got into that was, I was talking about taking care of your parents later on. And if you're a Capricorn, you might feel like that's a great thing. Or a Cancer, I'm trying to think of signs that I consider the most traditional, maybe a Taurus or something like that. And you might feel like that's actually a good thing, because you can have that ability to, have somebody who needs you or something like that. Whereas another sign might see it as, oh no, I have to interact with these people who never really showed love to me, and I really don't feel that connection. I'm kind of angry at them. And this is one of the things too about the fourth house. It's the past, and having Saturn here can make it difficult for you to actually transcend the past, because it's almost like clinging to the past. And another thing that can happen that is similar to this is, because the fourth house can be your actual property, you may fear losing your house. So, whether it's like a lack of money or some other way that would happen, you want to hold on to things and even objects. So when I was compiling a list, I put in parentheses, pack rat, because that could be, somebody who's afraid of like letting go of anything, because there's all these memories attached to everything. And this is what they say about pack rats, is that they, have so many, they're so sentimental about every little thing. And the fourth house is sentimentality. Now, I mentioned that Saturn is traditional, but there's a rigidity there. So the person, it's like, think about somebody who believes that the way things used to be is the way that they should be. And, there could a lot of, we can have a debate about that, and it probably would be true in many respects. But someone could point out to them certain areas that were not so great about the past, and why it's good that things have changed. And if you have Saturn in the fourth house, you may be very rigid in your thinking and try to impose your beliefs on other people, and thinking that, being kind of stuck in that, the old-fashioned way of doing things. I don't like to use old-fashioned as a pejorative, like it's just some kind of an insult or anything like that. But the problem is the rigidity of it. When the person cannot have flexibility to see that things are not just black and white, when it comes to, what has happened in traditional ways of doing things. You may work in real estate as your career, and maybe anything connected to housing and career. They said real estate. I would even say construction worker. That would be a possibility. And owning an old home. So that might be the style, rather than having kind of a modern type of style. You may love Victorian houses or things of that nature. And you may have an emotional attachment to the country of your birth. And so anyway, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a natal chart interpretation, transits reading, combination, I have all kinds of readings. The link is below. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye.